Okay, here's the directions for the pop essay part 2. This is the first time you're really thinking about the contents of your essay. So if you haven't done part 1, go to part 1. Part 1, you're figuring out the source that your essay could feasibly be submitted to. So here's the first time you have to think about the ideas of what's going in your essay. You don't have to commit to them, but you have to think about them. Okay. So the doc you have, this is a PDF. The doc you have should look exactly the same as this. Okay, the prompt. Excuse me. Is Romeo and Juliet still worth studying? That's your prompt. That's what you're going to be arguing or discussing. So the first step is to rephrase that as a statement, and there you can do something with it. You won't insert this exact statement into your essay, but something like it will be in there somewhere. So the statement, Romeo and Juliet is still worth studying. Now you pick a stance. Are you going to defend that, refute that, or qualify that? Reminder, defend is agree, refute is disagree, qualify is like agree, but to a certain extent or for a different reason. I don't care which one of these you pick. Picking one will not make me disappointed. I just care that you argue your topic well. So essentially, qualify is mostly defend with some refute, or mostly refute with some qualify. Or, no, I said that wrong. That's a typo. Either qualify is mostly defend with some refute, or mostly refute with some defend. That's the right way to say it. Alright, some nuanced stuff. So the topic is Romeo and Juliet is still worth studying, or the prompt. Studying, the word, what I'm thinking of studying when I say studying is spending time and mental effort on it. Reading once, watching the movie, or seeing one performance does not equal studying. So studying is like what we did. Spending a lot of time analyzing, thinking about, discussing. Is Romeo and Juliet still worth studying? And you get to pick. Does studying mean studying in general, like people in the world, or does it mean high school? You get to pick that, because those are actually different arguments. And you can't use these two arguments that I'm about to tell you, because they don't actually address Romeo and Juliet. They address other issues, which is a different topic. 1. Romeo and Juliet and Shakespeare in general is too hard to read, or the language is too difficult. That does not have anything to do with the subject, the content of Romeo and Juliet. It's just the style, because then you're going to argue that nothing before like 200 years ago should be read, even shorter than that, like 150 years ago, because it's too difficult to read. So you can't make that argument, or that can't be part of your argument either. And the other one is the dead white male argument. There needs to be more diversity in what is studied and therefore valued, so get rid of or devalue the oldest and whitest of authors, who would be Shakespeare. That has nothing to do with the content of Romeo and Juliet. That's an argument, that's a different kind of argument. Don't use that one. Okay, so let's do some brainstorming now. You don't need a thesis. The statement you need to confront is Romeo and Juliet is still worth studying. Fill in this chart to brainstorm. So there are 4 prompts here. Just like write whatever comes to your mind. There's no limit, there's no minimum, but write whatever comes to your mind. List as many defenses for the prompt that you can. So what are good reasons that Romeo and Juliet is still worth studying? I agree with that because. List as many refutations, as many refutes. No, it's not because blank, 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 blank. List as many questions or things you are unsure about that you can. What are you, like, I don't know, what are you unsure about? Maybe, well, Shakespeare is, but I don't know if Romeo and Juliet is, or, the ideas of Romeo and Juliet are, but, like, the setting just is, whatever, we should just watch West Side Story, I'm not quite sure. And then, list as many things, there's a typo there. List as many things that you are 100% sure about and unwilling to bend on about Romeo and Juliet as you can. So, what are you 100% sure about that you will not compromise? This is trash. This is amazing. It made me feel some kind of way. I don't know. All right? So here. So as of right now, I think for me, the strongest stance for my essay would be to insert defend, refute, qualify. Because whatever. So this is like a pre-thesis. You're not bound to this, but this is like the pre-thesis. Okay, and then here's the last part. This is very similar what you did for your 2 articles from the source. But you're going to plan out what kind of language you're going to use. How will it fit the source that you want it to belong to? Okay, voice. Think of it this way. All authors and writers are taking on the role of a character. The character is most often an exaggerated version of the author. Not always. They embody that character's personality, voice, style, mood, and quirks. What character will you be embodying for this piece of writing? Describe that character. Is that character biased, objective, resentful, optimistic? Anything. No backstory, just personality and mental stuff. So yeah, who's the personality of the person writing this? Now, it could be just a version of you, or it could be someone very different. So I want you to be creative here. This is the creative essay. All right. Is there anything that your character is well known for, or that you want to try out? This can be uniqueness of form, content, and or style. So is there anything you want to try out? You want to have some paragraphs that are 1 sentence long? Do you want to be really vague? Do you want to, I don't know, what is your character known for? Describe the diction or language style you'll be attempting. Produce 10 words to show the typical language style you will be attempting. Describe the tone you will be attempting. How or to what extent will you attempt to use logos? How or to what extent will you attempt to use ethos? How or to what extent will you attempt to use pathos? Logic, credibility, either your credibility or the text, or borrowing someone's credibility, or emotion. And then this here, the whole bottom part, is just to help you. I got this right from that book, Beyond Literary Analysis. And this is just like, if you're writing for a certain audience, you're writing about Shakespeare. There's 3 different audience types, and there's suggestions, which you can use. You don't have to, but you can use them to kind of gauge what you're going to write. And that's like the out-of-class time for this whole week. This is due on Friday. Let me know if you have any questions. Go.